everyone! For today's parent session, we're going to be focusing on the 4 goals of misbehavior. I'm Lainey Vasiliadis.
And I'm Linda Bogdanich.
So let's get started. According to Dreikers, the 4 goals of misbehavior are attention getting, power, revenge, and inadequacy. We are social beings, and our main desire is to feel like we belong. According to Dreikers, there are 4 reasons why a child misbehaves, either for attention, power, revenge, or because they feel inadequate. Many adults wonder why a child chooses bad behavior over good behavior. That, according to Dreikers, is the wrong question. A more useful one is, what does the child hope to gain from this misbehavior? Why did the child do that? It's important to ask yourself how you feel when the child acts up to learn the reason behind their misbehavior. For example, when we feel annoyed when a child disobeys, the youngster is probably seeking attention. Angry? Then power is the child's ultimate goal. Feeling hurt by their behavior? Then their objective is revenge. Frustrated to the point of giving up? Then the child believes they are inadequate and misbehaves to confirm their feelings. We can respond with more effective discipline when we know why the child is misbehaving. We have a video for you guys that kind of explains a little bit more about the 4 goals of misbehavior.
And delaying or doing things requested at very slow. It takes a lot for a child to get very hurtful and kids have given up. Behavior it is. Let's get that one. What are you doing? Over and over. They want attention. Are you angry? However, how much time we spend at the park, however bedtime, and it's in different ways. Now some people fall asleep, remember, be calm, stay calm. That side of power needs kid choices. You like chicken or beef for dinner? Want to color with the red or the blue color? Want Toughen your skin. Please, don't hurt them back. Build their trust and love by being fair. Thanking them when they help, and notice when they do. Hopefully it never comes to that. You'll have to recognize it. Again, some of these are everything overnight and working with you. But that's not the us. Last night, there's no. Don't ever criticize them. Notice no effort.
Here we have a chart of the 4 goals of misbehavior. You'll notice on the top that it tells us what the child's goal is, what they're actually needing when they're exhibiting those kinds of behaviors, how it makes you feel when they're doing this, how the child responds if they're corrected by you and when you're having those feelings, and then a positive way to respond. So if we start with attention, what the child actually needs when they're using those negative approaches with attention getting is they want contact and belonging. Physical or emotional contact with other human beings is what they're seeking. And that might make you feel very annoyed, irritated. You might hear yourself saying things like, would you just knock it off? When we do say those kinds of things and have those feelings, then the child might respond with, they might stop that behavior, but they'll start again very soon. A positive way to respond to this kind of behavior is to ignore it. Give your full attention at other times when they are behaving in a better way, and act, don't talk. Our second goal of misbehavior is power, and with that one, the child is actually needing power themselves. They want to be able to influence their environment, at least feel like they have some kind of control over it. How this makes you feel in that kind of power struggle is you can't get away with that. So you're feeling challenged and you're feeling provoked by your child. How the child responds to that kind of correction is this could make them increase their misbehavior or give in, but they're going to come back fighting again at a later time. A positive way or positive ways to respond are to remove yourself from that conflict. Just get yourself away. Don't fight. Don't do that back and forth with them. Talk about it after you've cooled off, after you've calmed yourself down. Then you can come back and talk about it. The third goal of misbehavior is revenge. And the child needs protection when they're showing this kind of behavior. They want to protect themselves from any kind of physical harm or threats to their self-esteem. How it makes you feel as a parent is, how could you do this to me? So you're feeling hurt yourself, you're feeling angry. The child will respond by continuing to hurt you or increase the misbehavior. So a positive way to respond to this is to refuse to be hurt. Avoid that temptation to, well, they hurt me, I'm now going to try to hurt them back. So withdraw from that conflict, showing them love, kind of the opposite of how you're feeling, showing them that love will help take that away, help that diffuse that situation. And then finally, the fourth goal of misbehavior is inadequacy. And the child really needs to withdraw, the ability to withdraw, to regroup, to center themselves. How this makes you feel is, what can I do? Feeling helpless, despair. A lot of times we feel pity for our children when they're exhibiting that kind of behavior too. So how the child responds to that is they'll become passive, they'll feel extremely helpless, they will probably even refuse to try. So our positive ways to respond to this are to be patient, find ways to encourage your child. You want to build on the skills when you see them. making an effort, build on the things that are positive, and just encourage them with those baby steps that they do take.
So let's dig a little bit deeper into the first goal of misbehavior, attention getting. One reason a child misbehaves is because they want or are seeking attention. When child seeks attention, it can be that the child feels overlooked or insignificant. Since they feel this way, they choose to behave. So like I was saying, when a child seeks attention, it can be that the child feels overlooked or insignificant. Since they feel this way, they choose to behave in a way to make sure they are noticed by you. For example, throwing their toys, screaming, showing off, asking irrelevant questions, being disruptive. When children are seeking attention, there are often times that we give them exactly what they want. It's easy to quickly react by yelling or scolding your child, but in doing that, we give them the exact attention they desire. Children prefer to receive positive attention or negative attention, but they will accept and seek out negative attention if that is all that is offered to them. If the only time an adult pays attention to a child is when they are yelling or scolding them, the child is likely to repeat this negative behavior to continue getting some sort of attention. It is important to try and find ways to give attention to children in a positive and constructive way.
Here's a scenario of a child using attention-getting behavior. Molly is at the park with her mother. Her mother is talking to another parent, and Molly keeps yelling, "Mom, Mom, look at me!" Each time her mother tells her to wait while she is speaking to another adult, Molly gets louder and louder to try to gain her mother's attention. What would you do if you were Molly's mother?
Here are some positive ways to correct attention-getting behavior. The first thing you can do is make it positive. Instead of pointing out a child's negative behavior, try pointing out something positive. When you shift your child's focus, you can shift their behavior. In this case, a child gets the attention they want, but for a positive behavior you can reinforce. Another thing you can do is change the channel. Sometimes it's hard for children to shift their focus once they have set a goal, like attention. Try giving attention to your child for something completely unrelated. If you shift their focus away from the negative behavior, then your child is getting the attention they desire in a more positive way. Something else you can do is decode the message. When a child misbehaves, they are usually trying to communicate something to you. So try taking a step back and seeing the situation from your child's point of view. It is much easier to address problems in a calm and supportive manner when we understand where our child is coming from. Try to look for clues that might tell you how your child is feeling. Ask yourself what their motivation might be. There may be simple things you can do to discourage misbehavior and make sure your child's needs are still met. Another thing you can do is spend some quality time. One of the best things you can do if your child is misbehaving to seek attention from you is to plan time to give them your attention in positive ways. Load them up with quality time and give them lots of your attention. Find a fun activity to do and do it together.
The second goal of misbehavior is power. One reason children misbehave is power. When children seek power through their behaviors, they're feeling like they don't have any control. To get this need met, children behave in ways to make sure to try to exert their control. They might scream no, refuse to comply, throw themselves on the ground when you ask them to put their shoes on. In the context of children, power means control. Misbehavior for power usually pops up when children feel like they have very little control over what's happening around them. To make up for feeling powerless, children use their behavior to either demand control or simply to take it from you. Examples of these behaviors include ignoring a request, pushing the limits or boundaries, or outbursts of anger. These actions usually end up with parents feeling angry, and they may feel a strong desire to punish the child or to fight back. Instead of focusing your energy on protecting your control over your child, try thinking about ways you can give them the power and control that they seek. Of course, that would be in appropriate and constructive ways.
Here's a scenario of a child who is seeking power from an adult. Max has been told to keep his room clean and finish his homework before dinner. He has been playing video games since he got home from school instead of doing his homework. His bed is not made and his clothes are still on the floor. Every time Max is reminded to clean up and do his homework, he slams his door and yells, "I will do it later." What would you do if you were Max's parents?
There are some positive ways to correct power behavior. First of all, make it a win-win. Instead of a competition, think of these as opportunities for teamwork, collaboration, and compromise. This is a great chance to teach your child valuable life skills, foster a healthy relationship with open communication, and teach them self-control. The second one is to bow out. A tug of war takes two people or two participants. If you refuse to enter into a power struggle with your child, they'll have no one to fight against. So instead of getting sucked into an argument or pushed into reacting, which gives your child the power they're searching for, diffuse the situation. So walk away, change the subject, or ignore the behavior. The third one is to give them choices. Children need opportunities to have control and make choices for themselves. So let them have those choices. Let them have a vote in what to make for dinner. Let them decide whether they want to clean their room or do their homework first. So they still have to do both of those things, like in the scenario before, but you're telling them, giving them the choice of what they're doing first. When children have that control, they feel useful, valuable, and powerful. And finally, while we can't let children have complete control over their decisions that affect them, as parents and caregivers, it's our duty to help them learn how to use that power wisely.
The third goal of misbehavior is revenge. Dealing with the mistaken goal of revenge takes patience. A child who hurts others feels that they have been hurt and they have to even the score. When a child is allowed to hurt others, they establish a painful cycle of relating to people through hurting and being hurt. To break this pattern, we should never retaliate. Instead, try to build a friendship with the child while improving self-esteem. This can be easily done by placing the child in situations in which they cannot fail. When a child has a better opinion of themselves, they rarely misbehave to seek revenge.
Here's a scenario where revenge is the goal of misbehavior. Susie got caught stealing $1 from a student at school. Her teacher sent a note home to her parents. They said to her, "How could you do this to us? We are ashamed of you. You've been nothing but trouble. We don't understand you. Now go to your room." So mom grabs her arm by her arm and brings her to her room. An hour later, Susie came out of her room and got even with her mom. She had been told not to play with nail polish in the past. She spilled the bottle of nail polish remover on her mom's new table. What would you do if you were Susie's parents? Would you have responded differently?
Here are some positive ways to correct revengeful behavior. You must avoid showing hurt feelings and avoid retaliating even though you are provoked to feel that way. Revengeful children can be taught to be more cooperative and to feel equal by being shown love and respect. Adults generally feel like punishing revengeful behavior, but punishment makes matters worse since the child will further punish the adult. Instead of punishing, doing something unexpected is more useful. For example, doing something very kind and showing your love. This takes the child by surprise. The adult must also be persistent and never give up. You can also list 5 things you like about the child. Start with encouragement. You should use only natural consequences with your child. You shouldn't confront the child when you are angry. They will be able to sense your anger and use it against you. And lastly, when you are feeling hurt or revengeful towards a child, it is a good indicator that the child's goal is probably revenge.
The final goal of misbehavior is inadequacy. The feeling of inadequacy is an escape for the discouraged child. In other words, since they feel bad, they act bad. It's a lot easier to give up rather than try and then to fail again. Inadequate children often brag, boast, or fight, and usually they are unwilling to try new things. Constant put-downs make these children feel even more worthless. They act with self-fulfilling prophecies, so they'll not try to do well at school if they think that they're stupid. If they believe they're unpopular and cruel, then they will in turn mistreat their peers. When children feel inadequate, we have a difficult task. We have to restore the faith in that child and encourage them by praising whatever successes that they do have. Arrange for small accomplishments and find opportunities to compliment them on their behavior. So remember that children are not miniature adults with bad judgments. They make mistakes because they are constantly learning. When we understand why children misbehave, we will be more inclined to choose a discipline tool that will reduce the misbehavior. For example, if a pot is boiling, if we clamp a lid on it, that's not the best solution. To solve that problem, we reduce or eliminate the heat that's underneath the pot. So in a similar way, if we can find and eliminate the source of the child's misbehavior, which would be the heat under the pot, they'll have more success in reducing any of their behavior problems.
Here's a scenario of a child displaying inadequacy. Jordan's parents noticed that he was withdrawing more and more from family activities. He began whining and would start crying for no reason. When asked to participate in activities, he would frequently say, "I can't." He began mumbling his words, so it was difficult to understand him. As a parent, what would you do in this situation?
Now we'll talk about ways to positively correct inadequate behavior. So this is Stryker's fourth goal, which is inadequacy. The child becomes so discouraged that they give up. Children with this goal exaggerate their weaknesses. They try to convince us that they're dumb or clumsy. Our response might be to feel sorry for them. We feel frustrated because nothing seems to work, but immediately stop feeling sorry for the child. This actually encourages their self-pity and convinces them that we don't believe in them. If we do everything for them, they believe that they can get what they want by being sad, by acting that way. Encouragement is needed for the child, and the adult must encourage him or herself also. And the child also needs to learn that it's okay to make mistakes and that no one is perfect. Also, be empathetic, not sympathetic. Arrange for situations where the child can be successful. When you know that they will be able to have success at something, that's what you want to make sure that you provide for them. Also, provide encouragement for each small attempt that they make at first. Be sincere about your encouragement, and then as they have that success, then gradually increase the difficulty.
In conclusion, remember, we are social beings. Our main desire is to feel like we belong. Misbehaviors are opportunities to listen to, care for, and teach your child. Responding appropriately will help you model and reinforce positive behavior patterns, strengthen your communication with your child, and increase the quality of your interactions. All right, that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you all so much and have a great week.